Colors are a fascinating concept. We see colors in every day of our lives, whether that's blue skies, greenish of foliage, or the blinding light of the sun. They're a combination of chemical effects to create a visual reaction. Water in small quantities is very transparent and has no specific color to it, but an ocean is very clearly blue or blue with green tints. That's because among the three colors in the light spectrum, red, blue, and green, clean water absorbs red light, which then leaves green and blue to illuminate the whole ocean. But it's hard to explain to someone the type of color we may be thinking of. They're an incredibly visual concept, so even if someone says orange, there's no guarantee another person is thinking of the exact same shade. So we determine colors through three different ranges: hue, saturation, and value. Hue is the color itself. The color wheel or color chart an artist may use focuses on a blend of the three primary colors: red, yellow, and blue. If we mix these colors together, we get the secondary colors. Red and yellow make orange, yellow and blue make green, and red and blue make purple. Makes for a really satisfying color wheel with all 6 hues. These array of hues are mostly categorized by their intensity and conveying temperature. These categories are warm colors and cool colors. Red, orange, and yellow, the warm colors, convey heat and place themselves in the forefront for our attention. The cool colors green, blue, and purple aren't as intense, so they fall to the background and help contrast the warm colors so they stand out more. But sometimes an artist may want to convey the intensity of a cool color or want to dull down a warm color as part of a design. So instead, the amount of hue in the color can make a cool blue intense or warm red soft. This is saturation. The intensity of how much color determines how much it will stand in the foreground or blend into the background. If a hue has more pigment, it will stand out a lot more than other colors with less pigment. Artists can use only one color in varying saturation to make an entire art piece. And when the saturation of a hue is brought down to 0, we're left with a value, which represents the brightness of the color. On either end of the value spectrum is black and white, and by adjusting this, it can change the specific lightness of the color. By adjusting these three values together, there's an infinite number of colors to choose from in the design process. The sky is the limit. An art piece can use as many or as little colors as they like. Oftentimes, hues can get mixed up and muddled if there are too many of them, so artists stick to a few colors in varying quantities on their art pieces. And because of the flexibility of colors and their intensity, we've assigned meaning to each one of them. The meanings we give to them begin from how we first encountered them in nature. Blue is the ocean, so we associate blue with water and stillness. The sun is yellow, so we associate that color with joy and light. Fire is red, so we associate that color with danger and heat. Chlorophyll in leaves is what gives them their green color, so we associate green with nature and plant life, which is also where we get green color dyes from. But colors often have contradictory meanings and symbolism. Green can represent the soft sway of grass on a field or can mean a deadly poison spreading in the air. Blue can represent the serene ocean or a person getting ill. Red can mean danger and is also represented as the color of romantic love in all of its passion. There's also a level of color association we have when existing in our present day. The rigid color association of blue being for boys and pink being for girls isn't something inherent to colors. We as humans created that meaning. The way we understand colors as a whole also means the creator can use colors to evoke certain emotions or feeling in their art. A creator can use the color yellow for the dawn of a new day as the sunlight peeks through, or a low-value, low and saturated black to convey darkness and despair of our characters. And this analysis of intent behind the creator's choice of color is often criticized or not considered to be as intentional on the hand of the creator. What if the blue curtains are just blue? Sure, it could be the creator picked their favorite color, looked at the curtain in their house, or just typed in the first color that came to mind. But this attention to detail a creator explores invisibly aids in conveying their idea to their audience. Even if it's not intentional, which is typically unlikely, it's a choice the creator has made and kept as part of an essential part of the story. Even internationally, colors can have different meanings across different cultures. Red can represent something auspicious, while somewhere else it can represent danger or blood. In Indian culture, the color of mourning is white, while in various other cultures, it's black. The way different cultures interpret color convey information in media that a person without that culture context might not understand. It's going to be extremely rude for a woman to wear a white dress at a Western wedding because that color signifies the bride. But if they don't have that context, it might be confusing why everyone suddenly doesn't like them. What's especially interesting is about how cultural context can influence the color choices and design language of a story. Audience with the cultural context will be aware that the creator's knowledge of that culture makes the story resonate in a way which other media lack. It doesn't change the understanding of the base story, instead it heightens it, especially if the story focuses on the culture the colors reflect. It's where the design language and story itself are in true harmony. So, let's talk about K-pop Demon Hunters and how it creates a visual climax inspired by cultural colors. K-pop Demon Hunters is an animated musical film that took the world by storm last summer. It focuses on Rumi, Mira, and Zoe, 3 K-pop idols part of a K-pop group known as Huntrix. But under their songs and glamour, they're demon hunters who use their voices to fight the demons that want to consume the souls of all humans. The story takes place in South Korea, so obviously Korean culture will be on full display. Come on, it's called K-pop Demon Hunters for a reason. Maddie Kong, the creator of the story and one of the directors and writers, is Korean, so it's clear that the story will definitely focus on Korean perspectives and influences at minimum. And that's because there's an important and specific color palette in traditional Korean culture, and that's the Obangsaek. If I'm butchering this and will butcher this, I am very sorry. The Obangsaek is combined of 5 different colors: red, blue, white, black, and yellow in this specific pattern. It appears everywhere in Korean traditions: costume, food, art, architecture, and even the musical instruments used. It's based upon the theory of the 5 elements: water, earth, metal, fire, and wood, along with the yin and yang school of thought with balance of light and darkness. And with this array of colors being so important to the traditional cultural identity in Korea, it's quite clear it would be an important piece of design influence that K-pop Demon Hunters would explore. Before I really get into it, I gotta give a disclaimer here. I'm not an expert in Korean culture or symbolism. I'm not Korean in any way. I haven't studied South Korean culture academically or empirically, so I don't have an inherent understanding of South Korean view of art. All that I've learned is based on the research I've done, so if I got something wrong, I apologize for that in advance. The reason why I'm still doing this video knowing that is because I think it's important to acknowledge when a piece of media is using cultural and ethnic specific experiences as practices in art that's predominantly aimed at a Western audience. In this case, animated films. As a South Asian who lives in an African country, I understand how important it is to have a conversation around cultural representation that then makes a story new or interesting than from a Western perspective. The digital art book of K-pop Demon Hunters references the Obangsaek only once, but the design of the ancient hunters in Prologue Hunter's Mantra makes sense. They're the traditional colors of Korea, so of course traditional ancient hunters would have the Obangsaek reflected on their design. Aside from that, I couldn't confirm if the Obangsaek was intentionally an emphasis on the color direction for the rest of the film, but I do think it heavily inspired the film in its visual structure and mirroring the symbolism of our characters, whether consciously or not. My analysis here is based on my personal interpretation of the colors along with the cultural context I found during my research. So without further ado, let's begin! The Obangsaek has 5 specific colors and placement just as important as the last. Each one of these colors have a variety of symbolism in Korean culture. For 5 elements, the seasons of the year, the cardinal direction, or general symbolism of a feeling. And these colors are each present in the film itself. Let's start with blue. In the Obangsaek, it represents East, spring season, and the element of wood. It's a great example of how cultural interpretation of a color might differ from an international one. Internationally, we would associate blue with the element of water, not wood. It also represents new birth, brightness, and clarity. Red represents south, summer, the element of fire, creation, passion, and love, but it's also a color of warning and danger, whether that's a stop sign, blood, or fire. Black represents north, winter, the element of water, and symbolizes wisdom, darkness, and death. White represents west, autumn, and the elements of metal and gold, while meaning truth, life, and purity. Yellow represents center, the end of summer, and earth. It represents brightness and the rays of sunshine. Each one of these colors have their own symbolism and meaning, but there's another group of colors called the Ogansaek. The Ogansaek is formed by combining specific colors of the Obangsaek. While the Obangsaek is definitely the more predominant color palette of traditional South Korean culture, the palette of the Ogansaek is more common around South Korean architecture, fashion, and design. If you take yellow and blue, you get green, which has become common in Korean design along with the main 5. Red and white gives this pinkish color, translated as bright red. Blue and white gives this light blue. Black and red give this dark red color, which is translated to violet. Yellow and black give this tan color, translated sulfur yellow. These color combinations do have their own names in Korean, but I'm gonna save us all from my mispronunciations. So now that I've explained the base knowledge we need, let's get into how K-pop Demon Hunters establishes and uses these cultural colors, especially in their songs. The film has 7 major diegetic songs. In order of appearance, we got How It's Done, Golden, Soda Pop, Takedown, Free, Your Idol, and What It Sounds Like. While each of these songs on their own build up the range of K-pop Demon Hunters sonically, the colors of each one act as recurring elements that emphasize meaning and culminates in a grand visual crescendo in what it sounds like. For the sake of my sanity, I'll be focusing on the songs in order of appearance and some scenes in the film were relevant to the songs. We'll start at the beginning, and I don't mean How It's Done, but the beginning of the beginning. Prologue Hunter's Mantra. The prologue introduces us to the hunters, demons, and civilians of the film. When the audience is introduced to the civilians, it's nighttime, so a blue hue overlays the whole setting, establishing them and the setting of Korea as the color blue like in the Obangsaek. The demons of the group are represented by the pink color, similar in the Ogansaek, with a combination of white meaning truth and red meaning danger. Demons are the dangerous truth of the world. The hunters of old are represented with light blue, combining blue and white, especially represented through their glow their weapons make. If you take the early symbolism of the Obangsaek blue representing the civilians in Korea, the combination of blue and white is a different truth about this world. Where the demons are truth in danger, the hunters are the truth of the Korean setting. The connection they create with all the civilians ignited by their music is also this light blue. The last color the song establishes is yellow, with the golden Hun moon, the final sealed barrier between the human world and the demon realm. Gold represents the center of the two worlds, much like how it represents center in the Obangsaek. Now let's get into the main songs and the important scenes of the film. First up, How It's Done. This song is the I Am song for Huntrix and the Hunters. An I Am song is usually for villain songs, or in this case to establish a specific constant of this world. I Am songs are meant to show something unchanging in a story. That's why in Disney movies, a villain will get an I Am song so we know who they are and what they do without sympathizing with them. The song doesn't tell us much about these three girls in terms of their desires, because it's gotta be more factual in how strong these K-pop demon hunters are. They gotta show how it's done. Each of the girls are also wearing yellow to an extent, to cue an audience that these three are the central characters of the film. The song immediately uses the colors established in prologue Hunter's mantra, light blue for the hunters and pink for the demons. It has a very clear divide between the two colors because it's hunters versus demons. The blue is more dominant color because the hunters are gonna kick demon butt. But the first time it gets to the chorus, the entire plane is dark, with the floor having light blue and some pink. Death is coming, and the hunters are going to serve it to these demons with skill and ease. Even when they get down to the main stage, the audience is blue, and the lights are pink and light blue, with the latter being the dominant color. The hunters and civilians are the strength of this world, so no demon's gonna overtake them. Nuh-uh, no way. On to the next song, and this is a big one. Golden is about each of our three girls individually. It starts off as an I Want song for all our three girls, while interesting saying that these three girls have passed through their conflicts. Instead of expressing dissatisfaction in their current lives and singing about what they're actually wanting like in a typical I Want song, the song expresses dissatisfaction with their past and implies overcoming that without directly saying how they overcame these feelings was by finding each other. Zoe's conflict was being half Korean and half American, trying to play both sides but unable to find her own place. Mira was ostracized from her family for being so different, but she found her way to live her life truthfully. Yellow is the color representing center, and the film establishes it with the Hun moon and our three girls being the main characters. But by calling the song golden, it means the ideas brought up in the song has to be the most important thing the story wants to explore. It's not until we get to Rumi's reveal in the second verse that it makes clear what's at the center of this entire film. By Rumi being half demon, it firmly establishes the main conflict and desire for the story. She wants to put her demon heritage behind her by turning the Hun moon golden and by sealing away her demon identity from her human self. Wait a second. A golden color used to represent the key functions of our character and their world, while simultaneously symbolizing the big secrets of our main character's non-human origins, contrasting their relationship with the people they care about the most? Why does that sound familiar? Who knows? But there's a lot more symbolism of herself conveyed with this part. When we see the other three girls in their golden outfits, Mira and Zoe are wearing white jackets over their black outfits, symbolizing them covering their darkness by openly living their truth. Rumi wears a black jacket over her white outfit, symbolizing an obvious darkness hiding her truth. When we learn her plan with the Hun moon to seal away her demon powers, she covers her patterns and white outfit with her black jacket. She's literally covering up her truth with her plan of a death. Black also represents wisdom. It symbolizes and communicates Rumi's belief in this being the right course of action, even if it's unclear how the Hun moon would work with her being half demon. This recontextualizes the symbolism of yellow and retrospectively brings a new color to the fray, with blue meaning both the nation and the hunters, and then combining yellow to represent Rumi's secret, we get green, respecting how her secret affairs affect her duty and her relationship to the other hunters. And this green pops up immediately in the song. At the beginning of Golden, we see when Rumi is singing her verse, everything around her is green with some gold and pink, retrospectively hinting at this motif for the rest of the film. When we get a flashback of younger her and Celine talking about who she is, it's in front of a shrine in a field. Green dominates the color of the scene, including Rumi's clothes that cover her patterns. When we get the second flashback of Mira and Zoe trying to convince her to go to the bathhouse, she's wearing green. She even questions Celine if this is the right way to go about this, and Celine, wearing white representing truth, is firm in keeping Rumi's demon origins a secret. Even her downtime hoodie has this tan color. The combination of black and yellow. The death of her secret is always on her mind because she keeps wearing it throughout the film. After angstily running away from the concert, as you get back to Mira and Zoe, she plays with her soup, colored yellow with a green onion. The two colors about how she feels with both her secret and her doubt of how it will definitely cause a strain in their relationship. And speaking of strains in their relationship, Soda Pop. This song reestablishes the color of the demons with the color pink and ties the color specifically to the Saja boys. The song is the visual inverse of how it's done, predominantly pink with some blue, to say how these guys are going to be a huge problem for the hunters as they dominate the world over them. While each Saja boy has some element of pink for their demon association, they're also each wearing yellow in some way. Both Abby and Baby Saja are wearing a yellow beanie, Romance with the shirt, and Mystery's rocking with a yellow turtleneck and these wrist warmer things. I don't know what that's about, but it looks cool. They're trying to take the spotlight from Huntrix, so the color yellow makes them stand out with their intentions. There's one Saja boy who's not wearing any yellow at all, and that's our boy Jinu, with wearing just pink and white as his standout colors. It gives him the illusion of being truthful and a demon. He's not the one to take the spotlight. The song ends with a surreal effect of the entire environment turning pink, a huge red, or should I say pink flag, to indicate the dangers of overriding the blue associations of the Korean setting and dominating over the civilians. Up next, we got Takedown. Takedown's an interesting song because it's not just diegetically occurring once, but 3 separate times. Again, for my sanity, I'll do them in order of appearance. The first is when they're trying to figure out the sound of Takedown. They're building the demo. It's a song they're going to use to defeat the Saja boys. So it happens during a time pass montage as they're figuring out the song and killing demons. Pink and yellow continuously appear and disappear as the color pink takes over a few times, whether that's the sky, the demons, or the award ceremony. The Saja boys' popularity keeps expanding and spreading all over as genuine competition for Huntrix. The Saja boys are winning. Even the ending shot of Takedown is Bobby in their penthouse with the blue of the civilians being taken over with the pink rifts of the Hun moon. We got the second part of Takedown next. There isn't much I want to talk about this music sequence, but rather the sequence that leads up to it, the train fight in the tunnel. Rumi voices are concerned that Takedown isn't the right song for them to perform in the Idol Awards to unite the fans and seal the Hun moon. Mira feels something's off with Rumi. It's not Takedown. There's something she's not saying. The tunnel is dark with flashes of pink and light blue, with the pink being the more present of the two. Rumi deflects and gets defensive, snarkily saying it's nothing more than Mira's insecurities. The train exits the tunnel, and we see the pink sky with the green landscape behind them and the blue water beneath. The dominance of the demons, the responsibility to hunters, and Rumi's doubts, all there in front of our eyes. Before we get to the final section of Takedown, we gotta shove Free in there. I gotta admit, I'm not a fan of the song. I think it's objectively good, but it's just so visually and sonically different from the rest of the film's song that I can't really get behind it. All the songs, even the ones we'll get to, have such strong personality that this kind of falls flat. Besides what it sounds like, it's the only song that doesn't have any Korean lyrics integrated into it, so it mostly sounds like a generic Western love ballad compared to the others. I also think Rumi and Jinu's relationship doesn't have a stronger foundation as the story thinks it does, so I'm not interested in this connection between them knowing Jinu's taking advantage of Rumi's vulnerability. But the song being very visually different from the rest of the musical numbers in the film is intentional in a way. Free starts with Rumi singing up to the first chorus. Red and green plants are all over the place. For Rumi, the color red takes dominance for her passionate feelings and care for Jinu as someone who can connect with and understand her. Even though red also means danger, all red flags with rose-colored glasses just look like flags. For Jinu, the color green takes prominence because he's starting to doubt his secrets and his relationship to Rumi. The red symbolizes the danger of what he's doing in addition to getting attached. In their backgrounds, Rumi has a clear sky behind her for a sense of freedom. Jinu is consistently blocked or in front of the colored plants as a sign of him coordinating himself between Gima's plan and Rumi. When they float, the sky becomes an amalgamation of colors. Pink for the demons, dark blue above for the responsibility of the hunters, the light blue for the hunters themselves. All three in harmony. It's surreal, cinematic, and visually different because this isn't reality. It's their dream of their ideal world. Then it's time for things to go really bad with Takedown Part 3. This is when Mira and Zoe are suddenly super hostile on stage at the Idol Awards. The stage is a combination of dark red and pink. Clearly, demons. Since Takedown is about killing demons pretending to be human, it turns on Rumi. They remove her black jacket and exposing her with their white outfit. Her truth is revealed and exposed. After the Idol Awards, where Mira and Zoe confront Rumi, there's a green glow illuminating them, the color of her fear of ruining her relationships, and what's worse than having your greatest fear come true. Speaking of weaponizing a person's greatest fear against them, we get to Your Idol, but there's some stuff before the song I want to highlight. The stadium they perform in is completely dark red, black, and some pink. This is the last color of the Ogansaek we've been missing, black and red. Death is coming, it's dangerous, and demons are responsible for it. The light of the stadium uses a light blue color. They have to give credit to Huntrix, their downfall made them shine in the spotlight after all. It's a very simple song color-wise. The Soldier Boys are wearing black to symbolize themselves as death. When it starts, the background colors are blue with flashes of green. They're shouting at Rumi for being so emotionally manipulatable. Thanks girl! But there's a new team in town. As the song goes on, there's more pinks, black, and red. The tension reaches a fever pitch as the Soldier Boys bless us with the greatest villain song of the decade. Danger, death, and demons are about to win. Then it all builds up and culminates in the final song, What It Sounds Like. This is Rumi's last ditch ever to do multiple things: make up with Mira and Zoe, defeat the Soldier Boys, end Gima, and recreate the honeymoon to seal the demons away for good. It's cinematic, climactic, and this video's long enough already, but I want to break down my favorite part of the song. It's where the visuals on screen are matching together with the lyrics of the song. This is definitely going to be the most English teacher kind of thing I do, but hey, it's my video. Rumi sings Nothing But the Truth now as we see a dark blue, almost black view of the floor and her boots stepping into view. It's the color white with gold on it, her truth and her secrets stepping out of the darkness of the world and into the view. Nothing but the proof of what I am, the worst of what I came from, patterns I'm ashamed of, things that even I don't understand. Her demon patterns begin glowing with every color we've seen in the film, as a representation of each part of herself. The light blue of the hunters, the pink of the demons, the green of her conflict, and the yellow of her identity as a midpoint between these two worlds. She's all of these things, and she's also herself. The colors are her truth, and that's why they're all part of her mainly white outfit. I tried to fix it, I tried to fight it. My head was twisted, my heart divided. My lies all collided. I don't know why I didn't trust you to be on my side. All of these colors she's wearing on her sleeve are all of her thoughts, feelings, and conflicts and doubts. They individually represent something about who she is and what she experienced over the course of the film. She's the most vulnerable she's ever been, airing out her truth regardless of any previous concerns in her mind. I broke into a million pieces and I can't go back, but now I'm seeing all the beauty in the broken glass. The scars are part of me, darkness and harmony. My voice without the lies, this is what it sounds like. In previous songs, she was seeing these parts of herself as separate, like she's a mistake, not meant to exist and trying to fix herself. That's why all of these colors have been so separate from one another, because of her demonness, her darkness, her hunter identity, or even her truth are all separate from one another. And in this moment, by bringing them all together, it's forming a swirl of colors we've never seen before. Darkness and harmony, a visual and a sound forming together. Why did I cover up the colors stuck inside my head? I should have let the jagged edges meet the light instead. It's a lot of rainbow imagery, and both Mira and Zoe acknowledge they weren't completely honest and started hiding and doubting things suddenly in the film. Rumi sings, "Show me what's underneath." It's sort of an explicit promise from her that there's no more secrets from them and to be honest with one another. She's asking them to show her their colors and their stories and feeling. And when they harmonize together on "I'll find your harmony," it makes clear that they're willing to see and hear each other for who they truly are. It seals this promise amongst the three of them. This is all done in 8 words. I truly think music is some kind of witchcraft. Then they continue harmonizing with "The song we couldn't write, this is what it sounds like." It's not takedown, it's not golden, it's not how it's done. It's a song where they could really feel themselves connecting to one another in a way they never had before. These lyrics in the first part are the most vulnerable they've ever been to one another, and how this part is so satisfying because of the relationship between the 3 girls is so crucial to the entire story. The remaining parts of the song is also really good, yet that first part is my favorite because of how cinematic and how it feels like they're rising from the ashes together after the whole film they've been disconnected because of Rumi's secret. The rest of the song also emphasizes the colors even more. When they hug, their outfits become completely white. No darkness amongst them, it's pure truth, with their determination to recreate and seal the honeymoon once more, represented by their goal, using the strength and notion of parting the demon hunters as part of the hunter's duty. In a way, it's sort of a visual counter to your idol as they fight the Soldier Boys and the demon. It's also really fun that the film starts with blue, meaning east, and ends with white, meaning west. All the colors from the audience swirl around, empowering them to seal Gima and recreate the honeymoon. It's the visual crescendo. After all the songs and all the questions, truths, and doubts, the colors come to a climax at their brightest, biggest, and loudest. But the honeymoon isn't golden, but rainbow. It's proof of their victory based on all they've experienced the whole film. The sky behind them as the song finishes is pink and blue, the same way she and Jinu dreamed of in Free, with both her demon side and hunter identity together with one another. There's no purple because Jinu sacrificed himself. He turned into light blue, by the way, so read into that what you will. And then the movie ends! So I just went down a whole discussion about Korean color symbolism in arguably the most popular original animated film of the decade. Why would I want to do this? Why is this important? There's this thing in video games called ludonarrative dissonance. coined by gaming designer Clint Hawking in his 2007 blog post on BioShock. It's when the interactive gameplay elements contradict or in some way do not align with the narrative the game is trying to convey. Did you successfully choose all the dialogue options that led to a peaceful revolution? Whoops, the developers didn't account for that. Your only gameplay option to progress is to punch them. In the wake of its discussion and conversation, a different term was coined to oppose this: ludonarrative harmony, where the gameplay elements and the narrative of the game itself are extremely in sync with one another. And this is a sort of way that I've experienced this with K-pop Demon Hunters. Not only are the songs and the story of the film reflective of K-pop conventions, but the visual creative elements are too. An audience familiar with the culture itself would recognize these subtle details in the art direction and enhances the impact of the story to reflect their culture. But it wouldn't be as meaningful to an audience unfamiliar with this inherent connection to this type of symbolism. There's a reason why people from Chicago got so excited at the appointing of a Pope from their city, because each US state and city have such different experiences and subtleties to their cultural identities that they're distinct from one another despite being part of a singular country of the US as a whole. In my case, I experienced this enhanced impact when watching Super Team 4, an animated series about 4 Zambian teen superheroes. While I live in a non-Zambian African country, I got so much love and joy from seeing parts of African culture and design in a Saturday morning-esque cartoon. We see urbanized and rural parts of neo-futuristic Lusaka, and not just your stereotypical Saharan desert or random yellow fields where lion and elephants roam. Characters have accents, civilian and secret identity names reflecting of their language conventions. Load shedding is a huge issue in the story, much like how it's a societal occurrence in real life. The buildings and layouts of the markets and schools is reflective of those in reality. The main antagonist of the show is trying to take over Lusaka, then plotting to expand their plans to take over all of Africa. And because Africa is such an overlooked and stereotyped continent in non-African media, it felt oddly heartwarming to hear a villain find such potential and importance in an entire continent that our heroes and I care for. While I personally don't think Super Team 4 is the peaks of television, and it doesn't have to be, I do think its solid writing made it unique and effective because of its respectful African approach to the story, design, and invisible pieces in the production. Culture is about ideas, customs, and social behaviors of a shared group of people. Culture is composed of food, fashion, traditions, but it's expanded to spaces beyond ethnic and local community. We have internet culture, punk counterculture, popular culture, the list goes on. And much like Super Team 4, K-pop Demon Hunters is in a similar, more popular, and larger scale artistic representation of a real ethnic culture. By basing the story around Korean culture, the visual design is authentically reflective of the story it's in. If the story was the exact same but utilized a Western color symbolism, it might not feel right or authentic to an experience. And once more, I am not Korean, so I'm speaking from my perspective as an artist of color. We keep a story alive by telling it over and over again. In a similar vein, culture stays alive because we practice the traditions formed by those before us and tell those stories to those that will come. When culture is forgotten and abandoned, we lose that underlying connection we have to these meaningful elements. That doesn't mean holding on to it so tightly it never leaves, but adapting it to fit the new world that's here today and simultaneously respecting the time and place it came from. A grand unity of the past and future to make us today, the present. The meaning and resonance of culture and its colors will last, but only for as long as we choose to make them last. And that's all I gotta say. See ya!